What's up? It's Josh Hewitt from Top Form Fitness, and it's time to do it with Hewitt. In this video, I wanted to talk about intermittent fasting. So cyclic fasting is nothing new. It's been pretty popular in the health and wellness industry for a few years now, although it does remain still somewhat controversial. There's a couple of different camps with different views on whether intermittent fasting is beneficial. All I want to do in this video is talk about my own experience with it and the research that I've done and how it's benefited me and my training and my health and wellness endeavors. So the approach to intermittent fasting that I'm using right now is the 16-8 fasting window. So basically you're fasting for 16 hours and you have an 8-hour eating window, and you can sort of reorganize that however you like. The most common way and the way that I'm using is to not eat during the first part of the day, basically skipping breakfast, and you have your first meal of the day around noon or 1 o'clock, and then you eat until 8 or 9 o'clock at night. You have your basically a couple of meals at least, or 2 or 3 meals within that 8-hour window, and then from 8 or 9 o'clock you don't eat until noon or 1 the next day. And you know what, a lot of people I've talked to, even a lot of clients, have a hard time eating breakfast anyway, or they just are not hungry in the morning and they have a lot of resistance to eating breakfast. And historically I used to say, no, most important meal of the day, you got to get in that breakfast to get your energy going in the start of the day and jumpstart your metabolism, blah, 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 blah. But the more I've read, that's really not the case. As long as you're hitting your total micro, macronutrient, and caloric needs over the course of the day, the number of meals, the frequency of eating is really secondary. Now, meal timing might play a certain role related to your activity level. Like, I do believe that post-workout, it is helpful to eat within a couple of hours and get in the macronutrients you need within a couple of hours after your workout, especially after a strength training workout. But aside from that, your meal timing is really secondary. So if you are eating 3 square meals a day, that's totally fine. If you choose to eat 6 times a day because you're in a hypertrophy phase and you're eating a crap load of calories and it's really tough to get those calories in those 3 meals, great, eat more often. A few of the benefits for intermittent fasting and reduced frequency of meals, basically having a longer period of time where you have an empty stomach, is that your insulin levels are far lower for the majority of the day. Every time you eat, no matter what it is, certain foods, obviously sugar foods and whatnot, typically have a higher effect on insulin than other foods. But anytime you eat, insulin is spiked, is affected. Now, insulin is not bad. There's a lot of hype around insulin, being the fat storage hormone and whatnot. Insulin is a storage hormone, period, so it's necessary for uptaking all kinds of nutrients into your body. We need it. In fact, the problem arises when there's imbalances in your hormones. So in our typical North American diet, a lot of people eat more than necessary. I mean, more than 50% of the population is overweight. That says something right there. There's an overconsumption of calories, period. And there's blood sugar problems, diabetes, and metabolic syndrome, a lot of digestive problems. So it's pretty safe to say that for the majority of our population, there is an overconsumption problem going on here. So restricting calories somewhat is part of the solution to that, or increasing activity as well. But the benefit of actually having a fasted period where your stomach is empty for a prolonged period of time is when your insulin levels are low for an extended period of time, growth hormone levels typically are higher. There's an antagonist relationship between insulin and growth hormone. And growth hormone is related to, I look at it as the youth hormone, it's related to longevity. Obviously this is an oversimplification, but intermittent fasting has been shown to prolong lifespan, so, as well as caloric restriction does as well. So this is especially of interest for myself in my 40s, that longevity is interesting. I dig this existence. I want to live as long as I can, and definitely anything to increase longevity is of interest to me. So that's definitely one benefit. Supporting your immune function is another one, so supporting a healthy immune system. Fasting also plays a beneficial role in reducing inflammation in the body. And something I just learned about recently was autophagy. So this is, I'll post a link to some more information down below on it, but this is basically the removal of dead tissues and cells and the renewal of them. So the removal and renewal of cellular tissue. And this supports longevity as well. It slows the aging process as well. And fasting and caloric restriction play a crucial role in autophagy. And the other obvious benefit to fasting is metabolic or energetic efficiency. So you become much more efficient with the calories you do take in, so you end up needing less to perform the same amount of work. For longevity, anti-aging effects, and the other benefits I just listed, intermittent fasting plays a very crucial role, and it certainly supports fat loss. It's very easy to maintain a caloric deficit when you have a larger window of time that you're fasted where you're not eating. So if you're restricting calories and you're only getting 2 or 3 meals within an 8-hour window, that makes it much easier to maintain that caloric restriction. Some of the considerations when you are fasting is that you want to make sure that you're still hitting your total nutrient needs, your macronutrient and micronutrient needs within that eating window. So this plays a role in your food choices, and in my opinion, food quality does make a difference. Obviously, you can maintain a lower body composition and build muscle eating crappy food or processed food, but there will be health repercussions on that. So for me, I choose to have an 80-20 split, 80% of my food coming from whole foods or less processed foods. And the way I work my training into the mix is if I'm going to be performing cardiovascular exercise, high intensity interval training is my choice for cardiovascular exercise. I perform that early in the day during my fasted state, and then I perform my strength training workout either right after my first meal or right before early afternoon. So I'm getting my biggest meal post strength training, right after my strength training workout. And there are other benefits to that as well. So there are different ways to incorporate intermittent fasting, and it's not really, I don't look at it as a diet, I look at it as just an eating schedule. So it's just planning longer periods of having an empty stomach in your diet. And the way I talked about the skipping breakfast basically is a very simple way to do that. But there's also people who do 2 days of eating, 1 day of fasting, 1 full day fast a week, just as not eating from dinner the one day, nothing the next day, and then breakfast the following day. I'll post a link to my blog post on the screen here, as well as in the description section below, and I link to a number of different ways you can incorporate intermittent fasting, some of the other benefits that I didn't discuss in this video, and some of the research that's on that. So if this is something you've heard about but you haven't really explored, or you're sort of on the fence about it, or you're very opinionated on it one way or the other, do check out that link, look into it a little further. For myself, I've noticed a number of different benefits as far as even digestion, maintaining a low body fat percentage. I've been able to maintain a lean tissue. I've noticed other benefits as far as focus, concentration, memory. I'm meditating a lot now as well, and I found that meditating during a fasted state, I'm able to get into a deeper relaxation or a deeper state of presence and focused concentration when I'm fasted. So there are some brain benefits as well to being in a fasted state. So definitely explore this. I'm not here to debate one versus other. I'm here to share my experience and the definite positive effect that it's had on my life. This is definitely something I'm going to be using as far as I can foresee going forward for the rest of my life, which hopefully is a very long one. So to anyone watching, if you have any questions or comments, do post them down below. If you like the video, give it a like and make sure you subscribe. There's more coming up soon. And until next time, stay strong.